Hello, this is your humble narrator, Fringe Average. So in the podcast you're about to hear, we talked about how to win at Haunted Mines. And during the podcast, we said to maybe focus on the skulls a little bit. But actually, after the podcast ended, we actually did a strat where we just completely negated the objective of getting the skulls. And we just pushed with Sylvanas and we took down both tier 1 and tier 2 structures. And then at the very end, after that occurred, that's when we took a couple skulls and pushed the core and won the game. If you're playing on Haunted Mines during the holiday, you can still run the strat of where you don't do the objective and still push at the very end with a little bit of skulls with your golem, and you can win the game. Okay. That's just a little note I wanted to clarify, because during the podcast we said that that strat may not work anymore because of the buff in the latest patch, but that was not true. The buff was not enough, is what I'm trying to say. All right, enjoy the rest of the show. And welcome to episode 43. This is the holiday edition of the GankBush Squadcast. I'm your host, Matt Cummins, aka Fringe Average. And for those of you who are listening for the first time ever, we are a Heroes of the Storm community fan podcast where all the different co-hosts represent different play levels. So we have someone today that's a Silver League, that's me, and we have two members that were Masters in Season 2, and we have someone that was in Diamond as well. So let's go ahead and introduce our co-hosts. So we'll introduce Scott Stevenson and Old Backpack, who's also named as Patrick Cummins, and they're both calling from the same place in South San Francisco, California.
Yeah, Pat decided to make a visit to my house. We'll double down on recording.
Yep. I didn't want to bring my Yeti from Abu Dhabi to America, so I have to double down with Scott.
Yeah, it's a valuable piece of equipment. Yeah. You don't want to risk breaking it during transport.
Or getting it lost.
Pat decided to bring other baggage with him.
Emotional, what are we talking about?
I just said baggage. That's all I said.
Okay. There's no baggage here.
Not to be brought up on the podcast.
I didn't bring up
This is about HOTS.
And LOL once.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Not anymore. So how's your week been with HOTS so far?
It's been all right. I just been playing a lot of Ragnaros and the other heroes that got major reworks, like Diablo, Dahaka, Rhaegar. No Hero League yet for me, or Team League, but probably hop into that next week.
Okay.
Or, I guess this coming week.
Yeah, it's very important to me to learn the new heroes before I go to Hero League. I need to see how good Diablo actually is, if he's first pickable or not. So yeah, I haven't done any Hero League at all either.
Oh, you missed that train because he was first pickable before he got nerfed.
So, all right, let's introduce one of our master levels, and that is Andrew Kang, aka Bacon, who's calling in from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, Fawn.
Hey.
We got the Fawns on our podcast today.
No, don't expect anything. That's the only word.
And he's Korean.
Hey.
Yep. I can do hero. If you
That's Japanese, son.
But my HOTS week has been okay, I guess.
So you've been playing Hero League on your Smurf account.
Yeah.
And
I'm doing both. I usually play it on my Smurf to warm up, and then I'll do it on my main account.
Gotta warm up to play by playing.
Yeah, man. Because if it's my first game of the day, I'm not a little used to it. I sometimes dive too far. I miss chances to kill people. So it's a good way to actually get some games in without playing like atrocious QM matches and things like that.
Is that why you played QM with us like an hour ago?
No, it's just burning time, right?
Okay.
I've been wanting to Hero League more, but I've been busy at work. So hopefully tomorrow I actually have some time to get some Hero League games in.
All right, so let's get on with the housekeeping. So first of all, this is a special holiday edition. Like I said before, we're doing like a very quick show just so that you have something for the plane ride to wherever it is you're going for the holiday. We are recording this on December 21st at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you listen to us on iTunes, please rate and review us. Also, we are on Stitcher, Google Play, Pocket Casts, as well as TuneIn. Also, Dan, who's not on the podcast, someone's messing with my housekeeping as I'm talking. But
I just saw that. I was like, what the fuck?
So, Matt, every single show, you tell everyone to rate and review us on iTunes. No one ever does. Not
yeah,
once.
well, that's, to be honest, I mean, that's how you move up the rankings in iTunes, and because iTunes is the hub for all of the podcast apps out there.
Okay.
So, like, Pocket Cast is like they get their podcast from iTunes, from the iTunes feed. So if we get more subscriptions and or more reviews on iTunes, we get better rankings. So when someone does a search for HOTS podcast or whatever, we'll show up and we'll get more listeners. So
And even then, like even the most popular Heroes podcasts only have like a fraction, the reviews that you'd expect. They only have like 20, 30 reviews too.
yeah,
And more around that range.
Yeah.
So it's not bad.
Yeah, but like if we got 20 or 30, we would be showing up in the top, without having to scroll to the right, essentially, in iTunes to find us.
Exactly.
So that's why I keep asking, our listeners to help us out and give
Let's
us
ask for a Christmas gift from our listeners.
Yeah.
They get free content every week out of us.
Let's go. Yep.
Yeah, we're
come on,
actually,
listeners.
Summers,
yeah.
Look us
You
up.
know
Give us a
the
gift.
Yelly, I know who you are.
Yeah, we know. We play with you.
But, I mean, that's okay. Well, to be fair though, we kind of like bash some of our listeners at times.
They love us, right?
So.
But you know what we do? But
Keith Brainerd.
He's the Zeratul. No, his name's Zeratul now, Pat.
Oh, Zeratul.
Keith Brainerd is the Zeratul of the podcast until otherwise noted.
hey, he started it, right?
He did start it. So, but
No, but even if we make fun of our listeners, it's all in jest, and we never mean it.
okay, so we're on YouTube. Also, you can email us at podcast@gankbushsquad.com. You can also find us in the channel Wintime. It's one word, Wintime. And if you go to gankbushsquad.com, you'll see links to all of the aforementioned things I just talked about. And also there, you'll find notes, the show notes, as well as the music that we're playing this week. Now, this week, we're playing at the end of the show, we're playing a special song that was given to us from the folks at the Realm podcast. So a couple of days ago, they emailed us, or they emailed me, and they created a 3-minute song about HOTS, celebrating the holiday. And I thought it was pretty good. So, so we're going to have a special Realm submission or whatever, or a submission from Realm on this podcast. So, and it's also, what's really funny is that they sent this email, this audio file, to all of the HOTS podcasts. So I actually have access to everyone's, like, if you like, I don't know, Core, I have their email address. If you like Heroes Forge, I have their email address. I have Lords of the Storm, I have Into the Nexus, I have everyone's email address. That is really funny now. So
that's Googleable, isn't it, though?
But not to have it all, one location without having to do any work.
Well, I'm sorry, other Heroes podcast. I'm sorry for the dick pic that you're about to get from that. Fucking trash.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
who's the number one HOTS podcast now? Schwing.
Yeah, there's a podcast called The Lagging Balls.
Yeah, Lagging Balls is fun.
Oh, okay.
In terms of the Heroes podcast, the World of Warcraft podcast, they're the closest to us in that market.
World of Warcraft?
Yeah, they're a World of Warcraft podcast, but they dabble in other Blizzard games too.
Oh.
And, they're the most explicit World of Warcraft podcast probably out there.
Oh, okay. Well, I wonder if they're sponsored by Blizzard or not. Anyway.
I actually want to reach out with them. It would be fun to do like a cooperation of some sort.
Yeah. I was thinking about reaching out to the Core, because they're the only ones I actually enjoy listening to. But anyway.
You should try Lagging Balls. I mean, yeah, it's like World of Warcraft stuff, but I think you'll enjoy it.
I'm going to edit that out. I don't know if they're any good or not, so I'm not going to give them a recommendation yet.
Okay.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'll keep it. Who knows? All right. Anyway, so that's our outro this week. And all right, so let's. First of all, we played some Team League with some win-timers the past 2 days, and or yesterday actually, we went 4-1.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Are you guys noticing that like a 5-man is way better than a 3 and 2-man?
Every time we're coordinated.
They probably don't have the matchmaking down right now. That's probably going to take some adjustments that won't happen for a month or two or even till next season if they're going to keep Team League the way it is right now.
Part of it has to do with I'm looking at the average MMRs of the teams, and we were always a little bit higher, and then add into the fact that it was my Smurf, so it's actually higher because matchmaking was tricked because I'm not really a gold level player. So it was nice to actually coordinate with you guys because like we had Matt on support, we had Greco as a main tank, Devin as a flex last pick, and then old backpack as just off tank flex pick, and then me with a hard carry ranged. And with that, our draft was pretty flexible. I think we pretty much outdrafted every game except for the first one that we lost.
Well, that's when we wanted to go the Earthquake Apocalypse build.
Yeah, it's just we had some bad fights. It was not our comp. I think it was just our execution was off. But
we had very straight damage.
4 straight wins right after that. So.
All right, I want to start off with a couple small things first. So Khaldor sent out a tweet today saying, quote, "Heroes esports is absolutely amazing and getting better and better, but actually playing the game is becoming less and less fun. #frustrating." And then he went on to say, "The issue is the atrocious matchmaking, no voice comms, no MMRDK, several other things." So what do you guys think about what he tweeted out?
No voice communication. I mean, I agree with his points. It's just that Blizzard has already said no voice cons, so they're already working on that, implementing that. They already said they're looking into MMRDK. I don't know did he actually explain several other things?
Yeah, what's his issue with the matchmaking? Matchmaking seems fine. The only people I could see complaining about matchmaking legitimately are the Grandmaster players.
Well, there have been games when I played with Pat, like some players have only played like 20 games when we play together.
Yeah, part of it has to do with that MMR decay, right? So when you're at 3,000 MMR, you don't play for a while. So your actual skill rating is about 2,500. But when you queue up for Hero League, you're being matched up with other 3,000 level players, and then you don't play as well and bring the team down. And the rest of the team suffers for that. So that's part of it. There's a lot of toxic players that get reported on that do not get banned or silenced, right? I mean, the extreme cases, obviously, they do get silenced or banned, temporary bans, but it seems like a lot of the toxic players, especially in the lower leagues where fringe average is, it seems to be a problem of people suiciding towers, throwing the games all the time, like AFKing at the altar, and the system doesn't seem good enough to be filtering those players out so that the overall quality can be higher.
In terms of being silenced, it's been proven that it's actually automated. So this one streamer told all of his followers, "Hey, just report me," and then after he got so many, he just got silenced automatically without doing anything. So it's actually been proven that it is actually just automated, though.
Wasn't that obvious? It has to be automated. You can't have almost hundreds of thousands or millions of players and have a team constantly there to look at reports. And they do have a system of you can contest the silence if you think you were unjustly silenced and take that off your account.
That probably takes like a week or so to get implemented.
It's within 24 hours you can get it looked at. There have been several threads of I was unjustly silenced, and then they make a Reddit thread, and then there's like a Blizzard employee that reads it and says, "Oh, we looked into your account and you are correct, so we removed the silence," and that was within like 12 hours since the Reddit thread was posted.
Wait, so you gotta go and make a Reddit thread?
Oh, Reddit thread, send in a ticket. I mean, you can do both if you want. If you truly think you were unjustly silenced. Now, there was a time where a few people got salty and they posted on the Blizzard forums, "I was unjustly silenced for this game. I didn't even say anything correct." And then the actual game master comes on and posts up quotes from the game. It's like, "You mother effer this or that. You should go kill yourself." It's like, so your silence was just...
That's awesome.
What a douchebag. He gets caught.
Yeah, so justice was served to that guy.
Yeah.
And back to Khaldor's thing, I think that has to do with part of it. I mean, Khaldor plays at the Grandmaster level. I believe that's what he said once.
Well, I'm looking at a screenshot that Glaurung, the guy that was he was the carry on the US team.
team?
No, on 2-8's team. But before that, he was on Denial Esports. And he took a screenshot of his matchmaking, and he's ranked number 2 in Hero League, and he's playing with gold level players. I'm looking at it right now. So I think that's what he's talking.
Was that recent?
It's an hour ago.
Yeah.
He said, quote, "Fuck this matchmaking system." I'm looking at it right now. There's 2 gold 3s in there that he's playing with.
As Scott said, the Grandmasters have a reason to complain. But if you're a gold player or a platinum player, you're fine.
Well,
yeah, there's a lot of players out there for you, you guys.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, there's something wrong with the matchmaking, though, if this is happening for even a percentage of the population, right?
Oh, Matt, when me and Scott were queuing Hero League, we played against Rafflecopter, and McIntyre. These are the Grandmasters of America. And I was playing against them and with them. That shouldn't happen either, but there aren't enough players at his level for him to play with.
Yeah, but you're not a gold level player, though.
Yeah, I'm not gold, but I'm still a child compared to these esports players.
Yeah, but you
remember when Kang played against them? Who was it? Kang, who'd you play against that was a pro?
I don't know.
Was it Stray's team?
Well, Kang is a master level player, though.
No, but Kang got owned when he tried to play against the NA.
Soldier. Players. But that was a long time ago.
No, didn't you try to play a game?
I mean, when I'm in Masters, I do occasionally play with pros, so it's not uncommon for me.
Yeah, no, but like when you played in a tournament against them, you realize how bad you were. You got your ass handed to you.
Yeah, that was for the HGC, right?
Oh, yeah. What I'm trying to say is that they are still much better than you, and you still queue with them. And there's no way to do it, because there aren't that many Grandmaster players.
And it was funny, Glaurung, now that you mention it, Matt, or Fringe Average, there was a little video posted on Reddit today saying that he's number 2, and there's the number 1 guy also queued in matchmaking at the same time as him. And they got put in 2 separate games, and they both waited over 10 minutes.
Oh, well, that's not good.
Yeah. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's so weird. I wonder what's going on.
I don't know.
But speaking of Glauron, I was roaming through Twitch looking at streamers, and I happened to come across his. If any of you guys are interested in watching Twitch, I would recommend watching his stream. He's really good, but what I really liked was after he played a game, he went and like reviewed like the team fights, and he's one of the top players in America. But even like as good as he is, he's making mistakes, and he's pointing out like why he casted like these spells in this situation and mistakes he made that he can improve on. I found that really interesting and educational.
Okay, yeah.
Throwing that out there. I don't think he streams that much, but I happened to come across him. He's the best stream I've seen.
I love players like that where they're never satisfied, so they're always seeking mistakes and things to learn from. A lot of these players that get really high MMR and they get good at I like to watch them, but sometimes they get salty and start denying, that they make mistakes, kind of like Munefair. Munefair is a good player. He screws up a lot, but he also starts flaming his team, and it makes for a bad time, man.
All right, well, let's move on to another small thing. And don't worry, everybody, we will talk about the patch, but we're doing that last. So Splendor wrote a piece about his thoughts on the state of the game. So this is basically what he said. And again, we'll link to this at GankBushSquad.com. He says that he doesn't like how Blizzard is buffing inferior talents all the time. That they are reducing the talents with the most playmaking ability. For example, they reduced Sundering and buffed Thrall's Earthquake, and they reduced Rhaegar's Ancestral and buffed the Bloodlust. And he was saying that the Earthquake and Bloodlust are really, really easy ultimates to cast, and that there's not really much skill required for those type of ultimates. Also, this is something I disagree with, but he doesn't like how drafting is very important. How games are won or lost more than half the time because of the team that won the draft. This is a direct quote. So he says, "I want to win because I have better mechanics and decision making, not because I have a better understanding of the meta right now."
Well, who you draft is part of your decision making. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Captain Obvious.
I agree with Fitzshot. That's part of the game of seeing what is the counter to whom. Having that knowledge is very important.
Who is Splendor?
Rewarded.
He's a pro player in the European scene.
He's the healer for who's it?
Yeah, I think he's the healer for one of the top teams in Europe.
Is it Mind Sanity?
Yeah, or Misfits.
Mind Sanity is close to
Misfits.
Yeah, Misfits is, I guess, the new Mind Sanity.
There is a draft for a reason. It's because, if he gets what he wants, then we just get 5 thralls on each side, and then whoever has the better mechanics ends up winning the game. It's just there's different strengths and weaknesses and metas to all the heroes and maps, so you have to properly draft around that.
Actually, when I watch the HUC and stuff like that, I actually get the most exciting part to me is the drafting aspect of it.
That's my favorite part of watching games, especially when watching Khaldor's channel. Watching the games is okay,
but the draft
I love watching the draft. That's my favorite part.
But it is visually very boring to watch. It's 5 guys making decisions.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but if you're doing analysis and like if you got somebody to fill the void in that time when if you're watching the sport, like Khaldor does a very good job of talking about how the different heroes interact, who thinks is going to get drafted, and who he would pick in this next situation, and who's going to counter who. Like it, I find that the most interesting part. The games I don't really watch that closely.
It's awesome about the when former pro players go into the casting scene, because like Dreadnought and Dunk Train, when they talk about when they're commentating on the draft phase of the game, it's like everything they're predicting and talking about actually happens on the draft screen. Like 5 seconds later, I think he's gonna pick Vala because of this or that, and then Vala gets picked. It's like, are these guys listening to the stream right now? It seems like the players in the drafting booths can actually hear the casters, and they're just like sniping ideas from them, because that's how close the draft screen reflects what some of the commentators can think of.
But all right, so what do you think about the first point about the whole idea of buffing Earthquake and nerfing Sundering? Because Sundering has a higher skill cap than Earthquake, right? And the same thing with Bloodlust versus Ancestral.
It's good to have diversity in the game. It's good to have your choice in talents to pick. Like, I agree with them on the point that, Sundering requires more skill, and Ancestral requires more skill to use effectively than the other talents. But to just always have a clear-cut choice in what talent you want to pick, it's like, why even give somebody a choice at that point? Why don't you just have them just get a buff when they level up and hit level 10 or 13? You need these different talents to allow people to customize their build and pick whatever is going to suit them best in that game. That is part of the decision-making process, like the draft, and making good decisions to prepare yourself to succeed in the game.
But why not have Earthquake and Sundering be both equally viable? Why does one have to be nerfed?
That's what Blizzard thought was gonna balance them out.
Yeah, they tried to balance them, so it's even.
But why can't why can't both ultimates be good, right? And
Thundering didn't, or Sundering didn't need a nerf. The thing that made Earthquake viable is that it now does damage, so it can proc Thrall's trait. Like, that was all the buff Earthquake needed. Sundering, I'd be fine if they changed it back up to it's a 1 second stun out. They buffed it up to 1.25, which it was like a month ago. I'd still probably be choosing Earthquake just because of the way that interacts with his trait now is just so much more powerful.
Wasn't the stun like 2 seconds or like 1.5 like a few months ago?
It was 1.5, and then it got nerfed along with all the other stuns that got nerfed in their duration from 1.5 to 1.25. Mm-hmm.
He's right, though, that Blizzard does nerf the strong and then buff the weak heroics and talents. And to a point, I agree with him, but it's like Splendor's thought is, if there is one correct build path, then he doesn't even look at the other talents, it seems like. It's just like whatever is best, he's just going to choose the best. And the noob trap talents he doesn't really care about, right? Because the best talent is the best talent. And that's good for him, but just having one choice when your talent system is advertising diversity is just bad game design. You can't blame Blizzard for trying to diversify talent picks and heroic choices.
Well said.
In the point he made, he contradicted himself. He mentions later on in the post about Chen, about the barrel. It's like, why choose barrel when you could go and choose the safe ultimate of Storm, Earth, and Fire? Is that the
three pandas?
Yeah, three. He called it three pandas. A year ago, barrel was absolute and utter garbage. It wasn't used at all. Three pandas was the way to go. And then barrel got buffed and people started using it. That's the opposite point of making a talent in barrel, which requires more skill, making it viable. You know, is he going to say that move was bad when Blizzard made that change?
I don't know, but I think he does have a point, though.
He has a point in that there are some less skill-intensive skills and characters, but that's okay. Like, when there's Samuro, most people choose Bladestorm because it's easier. No one wants to play 3 Samuros, and so they have easier skills, which are for different levels of play. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Well, why can't like in the example of Thrall and Rhaegar, why can't both ultimates be equally good? Like, why does one have to be nerfed so much?
Well, but Sunder still is good. It's not bad.
I would say it's kind of bad.
But I mean, we have HOTS logs to go off of, and that's not a perfect reflection of what the actual in-game stats are. So, I mean, for one reason or another, they thought that Sundering was a little too strong, Earthquake was a little too weak, so they kind of tried to put in 50-50, but it seems like they overdid it a little bit with Earthquake, overdid it a little bit with Sundering, and then they just need to adjust later on.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to. They adjust heroics all the time. It's like, you know, throughout the year, every week or two, something would get adjusted. So, and they do read Reddit. So if you think, or end this forum, so if you think something is off, then you should post.
If you look at the HOTS logs for Rhaegar, Bloodlust and Ancestral are at a 50-50 split. Which is kind of perfect, right?
Yeah, except Bloodlust has a significantly higher win rate.
We always put it with a Bloodlust comp. But if your comp isn't a Bloodlust comp, you have Ancestral. It's situationally good. It's what they want for every talent. That in this situation, this talent will win you more games.
Well, Ancestral needs to be put back to the way it was in terms of Rhaegar being able to put it on himself. It's
Self-cast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they did that, they'd have to nerf his damage that he just got buffed up again.
Scott's right, you would.
Yeah.
If they changed Ancestral to self-cast, he's basically very close to where he was right after the rework, where he was Rhaegar, where he was the top healer.
Top damage.
Well,
yeah, top healer near the top damage.
Just think of it this way. Suppose you guys were playing Heroes of the Storm for the first time ever, and you saw that, oh, Rhaegar can't cast his ultimate on himself? Like, what's up with that? You know?
Yeah, what's up with Morales not being able to heal herself? What's up with every healer that has cleanse unable to cast it on themselves?
Exactly.
There's other abilities like that as well. You know, it may not make perfect sense, but it's in there to help balance the game. And if that's how the spell was originally thrown out there, people wouldn't really be complaining as much. It's just a change that people don't really like because it makes him harder to play, and you got to play him a little differently, and people just don't want to accept the change that happens throughout the game.
Okay. All right, let's move on. So let's actually go ahead and talk about the very small patch that came out. So first of all, in the middle of the patch, so a patch came out on Tuesday morning. Yeah, on Tuesday morning. And then they forgot one thing, and that was to buff the golem in Haunted Mines. In the morning, Pat and I, we were running a strat where we wouldn't even bother doing the objective, let the opponent get 100 skulls, and we would just siege the entire time. And it worked really, really well. But now, the golem and the stun it does way more damage now than it used to.
We played a Hero League game on Team League game on Haunted Mines with the Windtimers. And we did that strat you were talking about, Matt, where we just, no one went into the mines. And we just completely trashed them in 10 minutes.
Yep.
It was funny because like half the team on the enemy side were like, we're gonna get the seeds, and then the other half were like, oh my god, our force getting demolished.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah, they're still trying to balance mines. I mean, they buffed the golem, which it needed to be buffed because it was useless before. It's still really weak right now. I think Blizzard's afraid of mines turning into what it was when a year ago when you had the original Haunted Mines out, where the golem was everything, and you get a second. The second time the golem comes around and you get like a really strong golem, you can end the game at like around 8 minutes. And I think they alleviated some of those changes by having the golem rotate which lane it goes down, and it spawns in the middle of the map instead of right where it died. So I think there's need to buff the damage a little bit more than what it is right now, but it's a step in the right direction because the golem was completely useless. I was playing a game like a week ago where we were like in the level 20s and we got a golem 100 to 0, and their keep was down and it never even did core damage. It was just so weak.
Yeah, level 20, 100 to 0 golem. Level 20.
Yeah, I
couldn't break shields.
Our team died getting that golem, so we didn't have anybody to really push with the golem. But 100 to 0 golem at like post level 20, you think, oh, that's gonna win the game, and it didn't even do core damage. It was pathetic, and I don't think it's too much stronger now, but it's progressive. It's going to take a few more patches for them to get it right.
But 140, the new damage, new golem attack damage is 110 to 140. Isn't that the beginning of the scale? So if it's based off of a percentage thing, then that's actually quite a lot.
Well, it's just at all times, the golem is going to hit around 28% harder or so, and the stomp hits for 150% more damage. So the stomp really hurts now. The golem's attack damage, as far as dealing damage to structures, isn't that big.
So the strat of ignoring the skulls and just sieging the base might work. Give it a shot.
I mean, we played that team league game on Haunted Mines yesterday, right? So that
in the afternoon,
that was this current patch, and it's still, we trashed them in 10 minutes. So
I think with this change now, you basically just don't want to get 100 to 0. You go in there and send a couple people into the mines and get some of the small skulls, and then hop back out and siege. And then if you end up with like a 30 to 70 split, you're fine.
Yeah. And Sylvanas is a tier S character on that map.
Not with how weak the golem is.
No. When you siege, you just siege and take down tons of towers really fast.
Yeah, so you're sieging while they're getting skulls.
Dude, the other team could do the same thing and just kill Sylvanas because she's squishy.
But no one's really doing that. Everyone's getting skulls, though.
Yeah, but if the other team does the same strat you're doing, I don't see Sylvanas being that useful.
I agree
in that scenario, yes, but
Sylvanas is useful in with the Infernals and the Immortal on Battlefield of Eternity, because those minions or that she supports hit really hard. If you got nothing to push with you, then other than just your team, you're better off going something else, I think.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about Ragnaros. So his damage got decreased by 5% pretty much everywhere. They increased the cooldowns on his trait as well as the lava wave talent from 100 to 120 seconds. So what do you guys think about the nerf to Ragnaros?
The lava wave cooldown got increased. His trait molten core got increased. And the lava wave talent got its damage reduced by 30%, which is a bit larger than the 5% reduction to everything else.
I think it was too much. If you had to guess right now, he was 61% last week. What's he at right now?
53%.
Oh, you guys already looked it up. Oh, goddamn.
Where he belongs.
he was way too strong at defending. I don't think they needed to nerf his regular abilities because his team fight potential is kind of garbage. But as far as his trait and his lava wave, those were just way too strong at defending and pushing. Those needed to be nerfed. The other stuff, I don't really think needed to be changed.
I think his trait, right? When Blizzard originally released Ragnaros, they said they wanted his trait to be used as a defensive ability, but it's so nice to use aggressively, right?
No matter when he's able to use it, it turns fights around. If you use it defensively, I've staved off a 4-man by myself by lava waving, molten coring the keep that they were pushing, and I killed 3 of them and 1 guy escaped. What other character in the game can win a 1v4? That it was stupid ridiculous how powerful it was. It needed to be changed. And then to top that off, if you're going offensive and your team's doing pretty well and you take down their fort and all of a sudden you molten core their fort and you're sieging them as they're retreating, that's a ton of damage and that you got to deal with too. So it's too powerful.
I thought what they shouldn't have touched the trait at all. What I think they should have done actually is just make it more defensive by decreasing the range of the abilities. That way, you can when the enemy team's running away, you can hit them for 2 screens away, which is kind of ridiculous when it's originally intended to just kind of stop that Zerg wave push, and the trait should be in a kind of localized area instead of 2 screens away. I think that was too strong. I think the range is still too strong.
Yeah, you can use it to help out in a lot of objectives on different maps too. It's not just for defending your lane. I've seen a lot of people where you're fighting for an objective and my team's getting a little too deep on their side, and Ragnaros just molten cores his nearby fort and just obliterates us.
But he's in a good place now.
Yeah, he's at 53%. I would like the idea of them keeping the damage the same on his molten core, but only castable on friendly forts.
Yeah, that would make him more of a defensive guy.
Yeah, that works too, without the range nerf.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, so we actually have him ranked as a tier 1 at the upper levels in terms of melee assassins. Is he still a tier 1?
No.
No. Tier 2.
Yeah. Yeah, he was basically S tier before the nerfs.
And also,
pretty bad.
Rest in peace, Ragnaros, 2016 to 2016.
Yeah. He's burned out.
It was a good week for him.
Yeah, and also for those of you who are listening, if you go to GankBushSquad.com and you click on the link at the top header, you'll see our rankings for the upper levels as well as the lower levels. And we broke it down by tank, support, specialist, melee assassins, and ranged assassin. So if you want to follow along, that's what's going on.
And we will be updating that very shortly to reflect this patch, right?
I just updated it right now.
Nice.
All right, so Diablo, he got a nerf as well. His base health got reduced by 4%, and they took away some of his tankiness and some of the talents that got nerfed. So what do you guys think about Diablo now?
The nerf to the spell shield at level 7 was very necessary. He took 70% reduced damage at one point?
60?
Yeah, 60 if you got that maxed out and you charge in and Q somebody.
Yeah. It was too high.
Okay, so we actually had him ranked as a tier S tank. For
he was last week.
Yeah, so what is he now? Tier 1? Tier 2?
Tier 1.
Yeah,
tier
he's
1.
Tier 1. You look at the win rates, he's at the top. Dahaka's a little slightly above him right now. Zarya's a little bit ahead,
So
but she's a second tank.
should Diablo be first pick worthy, or first or second pick worthy in Hero League drafts, or no?
If you are really confident with him, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there are some bad Diablos
Yeah.
where you save people with your flip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, Diablo's definitely a top main tank right now. Dahaka and Diablo basically dethroned Muradin and ETC as the top two tanks with this patch that
Alright.
happened last week.
I'd argue all four of them are tier 1.
So let's talk about Dahaka though. So Dahaka, his trait, they increased the quest reward per 50 essence stacks from 1 to 1.5% movement speed.
Yeah, that's level 1 ability.
Yeah, that's
people-
a garbage talent. That's not
Definitely.
going to change.
Okay.
Unless they make it on completion of the quest that the movement speed that you get
Mm-hmm.
lasts longer, because it only lasts while you're in the brush and 1 second after. They made it to like 2 seconds after. Maybe I'd consider taking it, but that movement speed only when you're in the brush, basically running faster for that little bit isn't that big of a deal.
Okay, so
Giving up any of the other level 1 traits of a increased wave clear or spell shield.
A
from your
40% spell shield, a massive spell shield.
So we actually currently have Dahaka as a tier 2 tank. Is
That's
that
tier 1.
He's
Tier
tier
one.
1.
And
Or tier 4 when Matt plays him.
Oh, yes.
well? That's lower levels though, so that's a little bit different. So, all right.
But it's
maybe
nice to
better.
have like 4 different tier 1 tanks that that play several different play styles, right?
Yeah, I like how they brought back the diversity. Dahaka was in the meta as kind of like a niche pick the last couple months, but Diablo has just been MIA. He's just been too squishy and just terrible. So it's nice that they brought other tanks up to par so that they can it basically leveled out the playing field.
But Diablo still feels bad with his trait. Like when you kill him and his trait resets, you're like, oh yeah, Diablo's gone. He's not a tank anymore. It's a very weird feeling that your tank becomes tanky then crappy.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that they'd smooth that out a little bit. They reduced his maximum health. I would rather that they have nerfed his trait a little bit so that the max health isn't like 40% at max stacks. It's like 30%. So the max health pools are about the same, but the base health is a little bit higher.
Yeah, make the stats less mandatory to survival.
Yeah. And the level 20 Hellgate nerf, after go back to the stream, I was watching Glauron play. That ability is really strong. I saw him, he'd teleport in next to a guy, flip the person on top of the rune, and that person's stunned. And then you could unload your combo of knocking them into your team or whatnot. But after watching that used properly, that ability is extremely strong.
So wait, you warp behind him and flip him into the Hellgate.
No, fuck that. You warp right in front of him,
Oh,
flip him onto the Hellgate, he gets stunned, then you knock him into your team.
yeah.
GG, noob.
GG no re.
Yeah, and that person, unless they are escaping right when Diablo teleports next to you, you're screwed.
Okay. So lastly, Arcanus, his trait, the shield value got increased by 4%.
Meh.
Yay.
Another bad tank that no one wants to play.
No,
there's in a decent spot right now.
Yeah, he's in a good spot.
52% win rate post patch, which I think he's actually a little higher. When I looked at him a couple days ago before the newest patch where he got a slight buff, he was at like 54%.
So
yeah, so he's in a good spot right now.
So we have him rated as a tier 3.
Tier 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a tier 2 like bruiser role now.
His swap tricks are pretty cool. You can do a lot of cool things with him.
Yeah, swap, the addition of that is huge.
Yeah.
He's definitely a better bruiser than Sonya.
And Stitches.
Right now. Stitches kind of has a unique role.
Yeah. Well, but this is very Stitches-like, with the blade dash in and a warp and swap.
Yeah, that's true. He's got a lot more team fight potential than Stitches when he can do a similar thing.
Okay, so the last topic, Kang, we'll do the best heroes next week when Dan and David are here too. But let's do the last thing is that we got a new hero coming into the Nexus, and it was released on Facebook today. And the name of the character is called Zul'jin.
Yes.
Zul'jin.
Okay, so I don't know anything about who this guy is, and in the lore.
Well, I can tell you. He is a troll berserker from the Warcraft world. Those that know berserkers deal more damage the closer to death they become. They usually sacrifice life in order to deal more damage. And they also have a high regen rate.
Not much is known. We do have the breakdown in terms of like the talents and the abilities that he has, but we're not going to walk through them because I think that's kind of boring audio. Let's just talk about in general what we think, or speculate what we think, how good or bad he's going to be. So what do you guys think?
Well, Chang was telling me that he's going to be Cherazim's best friend. He has his ultimate called Tazdingo, where he can't die for 4 seconds. And so he's a great palm target for Cherazim.
Oh, that's awesome. That reminds me of playing League of Legends with Soronprfbs. He's basically got the same ultimate where you can't die for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, stay at 1 HP, do a crap ton of damage with his trade and all the other crap, and then at the very end, Cherazim throws palm on you, and then you go back to full.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, his trait is that he gains 1% attack speed for every 1% of missing health that he has.
Yeah, so also he can use some ability to lose 2% life per attack to deal a bonus damage.
And then he can also buff his trait later on to do 50% or something.
Yeah.
Of his basic attack for the cost of 2%. I don't know, that's a lot of HP for one basic attack.
I think he's going to pair very well with Tassadar.
Oh, yes. Or even Zarya, for that matter.
Moralis's hate him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God damn it.
Heal me.
Stop attacking.
So, but I think he's going to be pretty good. I think he's going to be a noob killer at the lower levels.
Yeah, he'd be unkillable. Noobs love to chase that 1% health guy.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd see him killing Voldemort all the time.
Such a fine line to ride. You want lowest health as possible so you can get the most damage. I think there's going to be a lot of noobs that go, I'm 20%. I'm going to do a lot of damage going and die. And they, where's my healer? What are you doing?
If you notice in his skills, he has no gap close. He has a slow, but that's about it.
Oh, yeah. His E is regeneration, right?
It's channeled, though.
Yeah, it's channeling for 4 seconds to heal 25% of his max HP, which seems kind of crappy.
It's good for laning. It's the same as the Gara's old level 7, where she would channel to gain life and mana.
Yeah, but do you know what the cooldown is on regeneration? I can't find it.
I can't find it either. Probably around 15 seconds or something like that.
If it was 4 seconds, then...
So it's permanent?
Yeah.
No, that's too strong for laning phase.
Being that low. It's just gonna be something when you get low to run away and regen, and then you run back in.
Well, that's his laning ability, right?
Yeah.
Gives him some sustain in lane too.
Okay. All right. Well, this is that's our show for this week. We're gonna have like I said before. This is gonna be a short one because we all traveled Pat and I traveled for the holidays, so we're kind of tired. And David traveled for the holidays, and so did Dan, which is why they're not here today. But we wanted to make sure you got something before the holiday started. So.
Yeah. And also, Matt and I are off for the break. Well, me especially. So I'm on wintime a hell of a lot more now.
Yeah, and his ping is faster too. So
yes, I can actually marine walk on this ping. Before the delay was between the quick times of marine walking.
I have a quick win time.
Oh, that's right. The win time moment. Yes.
I was playing a Hero League game as ETC. It was on Infernal Shrines. And the enemy team had a Malfurion that went Twilight Dream. So we lost the first two Immortals. We were kind of behind, but we had a good team fight around level 16 and got the middle Immortal, and we started pushing in. And we got to their keep, and the enemy team had the Malfurion, like I said, and a Zeratul who popped Void Prism on top of four of us. And then the Malfurion walks up. You can kind of guess what's about to happen, right? So Malfurion pops Twilight Dream, but he does it half a second too early. And
so he misses the silence.
He missed the silence. So what I did was right when I popped out of the Void Prison, and I popped Mosh Pit, and I got 4 of the enemy members around the Mosh Pit. They lost the game because of that. That one Malfurion missed.
That's
time.
Awesome. So your win time was the other team's player messing up.
Yeah, the Void Prison went down, right? Everyone on my team's in it, and then Malfurion walks up, and the enemy team is like, "Oh, okay, it's go time, let's go!" And then they surround the Void Prison. They just stand there getting mosh pitted. Oh, it's so good.
I mean, there is a bit of a channel time to the Twilight Dream,
so I can see like a half second.
Yeah, I can see how that mistake happens.
But
it's the same channel time as the mosh pit.
I think you should have chosen win time with the win timers. They feel left out.
Oh, when we did the 10-minute
it's
game?
hard to counter what Kang did with that win time moment.
I know.
That's the definition of win time, where you just turn a fight completely around.
Yeah, and now 30 seconds later, we won the game. So
yeah, it actually won the game, so it is win time.
Was it but would you say it was a win time for me or a fail time for them?
Both.
You won.
Yeah,
well, the fact that you got a 4-man mosh pit playing in like Dime to Grand to Master level is a win time. You land more than like a 2-man mosh pit like once every 10, 15 games you play as ETC.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, people just don't get hit by a mosh pit at the higher levels where you can just hit a whole team without it getting interrupted within like half a second.
Yeah, so many. Everyone holds their knockback abilities just for that.
They do. You have to.
Yeah,
that's what the pros do.
All right. Well, that's our show this week. Again, this is a shorty. All right. All right, Pat.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Winter Veil.
Yeah, and we'll see you in the Nexus.
Ugh.
That was for Dad.
'Twas the night before Wintervale, the season of snow. Not a unit was stirring, not even Gaslow. The stockings were hung by the turrets with care, in hopes that the Great Father soon would be there. The heroes were ready to march to their lanes, while visions of neutral camps danced across their brains. Malfurion in headdress, and I with my glaives, had settled on bot lane, where we'd push for days. When out on the battlefield there rose such a clatter, I glanced at my minimap to see what was the matter. Away to the scoreboard I hit the tab key and tallied the numbers, afraid what I'd see. I did some quick math but couldn't believe it. How crappy a record, how could he achieve it? 2 takedowns, 9 deaths, not a single killing blow. We had quite the problem. trash-tier Diablo. He dove all alone and had no map awareness. "We're so fucking toast," our astute Chen declared us. "What a waste, uninstall, go die in a fire," the panda insisted as he let loose his ire. "Get wrecked, I'm the best, I'm a real Dunning-Kruger," Chen continued to vomit his angst and his fervor. "I always get paired with these terrible dudes," he said, unaware that the prob was his tude. We had seen this before, a chat-happy man-child. They're quite commonly found in the MOBA game wilds. The type who delights at whining and blaming. Oh, a day in the Nexus, just the place for a shaming. And then in a twinkling above fortress roofs, the prancing and pawing of black cloven hooves, I ceased my wave clearing and gazed up above to see great Father Winter, the one they speak of. Wrapped tightly in cleft furs, head to his foot, his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of stimpaks he had flung on his back. He looked just like a treasure goblin opening his pack. His eyes full of mana, his dimples how merry, his cheeks red as hellfire, his nose like a cherry, his little mouth drawn up like windrunner's bow, and the beard of his chin was like winter-spring snow. "I come bearing treasures I collected for you. It's Wintervale season, so don't look so blue." "But father," Chen said, "we have some real dummies. It's hard to be happy and play with these crummies." "You know, Chen, I think I have just the solution. This issue requires some swift retribution." He drew from his pack a mighty banhammer and struck Chen in the face with a deafening clamor. Decimated completely, the old man just smirked. "I don't suffer no fools when they act like a jerk. My advice to you gamers, whether far or those near, set your egos aside and spread holiday cheer." He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a shake, and away they all flew like a time-lost proto-drake. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Wintervale to all, and to all a good night." 'Twas the Night Before Wintervale is a tale from the Nexus written by Dakota Sibilia. You can follow him on Twitter at Dakodiak. This is Ro from the Realm Maintenance Podcast wishing you a very happy Wintervale.